All right, the next formula that we're going to be looking at is a little bit more complicated than the previous four. It's called the if function. Okay, and I'm showing you the if function mainly because I've been using Excel for over a decade, and I find I use this function almost as much as I use any of these other functions. So I figure if I'm using it that often, you'll probably want to use it. Okay, so the easiest thing to do when starting an if function, okay, you can't go up here, there is no option here, you can click on more functions. Alright, you can go down to if and run that way. Okay, I'm going to show you this way to save you a little time. Alright, so just like the other functions or any function, always start with an equals. Type out the function. Alright, we're not doing if error, so we're just going to open a bracket. Alright, and this time there's no dot 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 because there's only three things that we actually need to indicate in an if function. The first is the logic test, which is some sort of test, mathematical, that will need to return a value that is true or false. Okay, so what we're going to do is, for the simplicity of this tutorial, is we're just going to keep it very simple and say if A17 is less than A18, okay, then I'm going to start declaring my true, but in order to tell Excel that I'm done with the logic test, I go comma, and notice how the logic test is no longer bolded, but in fact this is bolded, the value if true. So if this is true, I could return a value of a number. I could return a value of a cell, okay? But I can also return a small string, or what's called sometimes a substring. Okay, so I use the normal quotations around the yes to tell Excel that it isn't a string. Alright, and then I put another comment in there to tell Excel that I'm moving on to the false, and I'll put no. Okay, you always got to close it. Okay, and if you don't, and I'm going to do it here for a second to show you, okay, Excel will actually put the bracket in there for you. If it doesn't know that you want a bracket, it'll give you a little bit of error and give you a little suggestion. But for the most part, make sure you close your brackets, or else some very interesting results could occur. So in this case, we know that just by looking over here, A17 is not less than A18. And so that's why in this cell we have a no. Okay, that's why it's showing no and not yes. If I were to change A17 for a second and say, oh, we're going to say it's 15, boom, look at that. Notice how this all of a sudden becomes a yes. Okay, no matter what I change it to, I'm just going to change it back here. Alright, it'll actually change as I change the values. So it could be very powerful if you want to say, you know, want to know which grade is higher, or are you beating your buddy, you know, in a class or something like that. You can actually indicate this by using a simple if function. If you have any questions, just email your teacher. Thanks.